everyone. Welcome to Inside Winston Cup Racing. Today we're in Mooresville, North Carolina at the Penske South Racing Team. This is where they build and maintain the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiacs that 1989 NASCAR Winston Cup champion Rusty Wallace drives. Now they're looking to get another championship this year and look for them to be strong contenders. Rusty is a part of our program today, and we'll have much more in this half hour of Inside Winston Cup Racing.
This year, the Busch Grand National Division is looking at fewer races, new tracks, and more money. But along with all that comes more pressure. We'll talk to a few of the drivers as they prepare for 1993.
And we'll take you to the beautiful Caribbean for a chat with driver Rusty Wallace. Rusty feels that he and his team are as pumped up as ever, and they're ready to make a bid for the 1993 Winston Cup title.
We'll also join racing legends Tim Flock, Buddy Baker, and Smokey Unick for some informal insight into the sport they love.
When I started, I was 17 years old, and the guys that I was fortunate enough to race with then, they were all very competitive. And the one thing that I've always been able to distinguish, a winner is a winner, no matter what decade he comes from.
Inside Winston Cup Racing is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
Filtered Miller Genuine Draft. The world's a very cool place. In America, your car is not just something you own. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco has developed Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. With not one, but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
Experience the drama, danger, and dedication of Daytona in this new CBS Sports home video.
Oh, I won the Daytona 500! I won the Daytona 500!
From the rough and tumble days on the beach right through the finish of the 1991 Daytona 500. Relive the most exciting finishes in auto racing history. To order by credit card, call 1-800-999-VIDEO. Daytona, drama, danger, dedication. It's just $19.98 plus $3 shipping and handling. Only a pit pass will get you closer to the action.
It's the Super Bowl of stock car. For the legends, it's Old Home Week. For the young lions, it's the ultimate proving ground. The Daytona 500. TNN takes a fast-paced look at the great American race, the history, its horror, and the hard work of NASCAR's first Winston Cup race of the year. Daytona, drama, danger, dedication. Next Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern, only on TNN Motorsports.
The NASCAR Busch Series continues to grow, certainly in a competitive form and in popularity. More races are televised nowadays, and they're running for more money than they've ever run for before, even though the schedule is reduced from 31 races last year to 28 this year. But with the big sponsorships that are coming into the sport now and the television and all of that, it's putting a lot more pressure on the drivers and the teams to perform. Bill Weber was in Daytona recently at a test session and talked to some of the drivers about the pressures involved.
You know, it's just getting to be more and more similar to Winston Cup every day.
The pressure is really on the Busch drivers now. You know, if you do your job and you run up front, you get the exposure you need for them.
We're going to try to win a championship. Anything less, we're not happy with.
February ushers in a new season of competitive racing for the Busch Grand National Series. As usual, the new season brings with it a variety of visible changes. Familiar faces in new places, sponsorship changes, and manufacturer moves. But in 1993, it's what you can't see that may ignite some of the most intense and exciting action in the history of the Busch Series, the corporate craving for success. There is no denying the growing trend in the Busch Series to parallel the Winston Cup Series. Bigger tracks, longer races, larger purses, and more pressure to win, and to look good while you're doing it.
I think it's going to be real good for this series, running the bigger racetracks, because you got people like Baby Ruth and Nestle and Nestea and everybody that's on these race cars today. They deserve to be at the Talladegas and the Michigans. They get a lot more exposure, and it portrays a much better image than running some of the small tracks. Not that I have anything against the small tracks, because it's a lot of fun to go run there. I feel like we may have some advantages at the short tracks, but the big tracks have a certain amount of prestige that go with them, and we want to be a part of that.
Sponsor exposure is a critical issue. If you run at the front of the pack, pick up points and win races, you sell product and keep sponsors smiling.
Used to be if you got a sponsor, it was already a victory for you, but now you get that sponsor, and you've got to finish in the top 10, the top 5. You've got to get that sponsor some impression, some TV time.
You definitely do, and as it is now, if you're not running up front in the first 5 or first 10, you're not going to get on TV, and the next day your sponsor's on the phone to you wondering what happened, and you know, it's not only pressure on the driver, it's pressure on the car owners, it's pressure on the crew, and everything has to be clicking and working in first-class order for everything to happen for you.
The growth of the Busch Series is a tribute to the talent of the teams that compete on the track, and a challenge to the corporate community that provides the financial fuel. The dollars invested must paint a colorful self-portrait in the budget-conscious boardroom.
Some of the teams, I think, some of the sponsors demand certain things to happen, and in this business it's impossible to make any concrete promises because it's just too unpredictable. You never know for sure what's going to happen. I mean, theoretically, we could even have a worse year in '93, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to have a much better year, but, you know, it's just hard to really guarantee anybody anything as competitive as it is.
You know, most sponsors that get into racing try out the Busch Series and they have their eyes on Winston Cup just like drivers do. And it's really something where you have to perform and prove to them that it is a marketing tool, that all the states that we go to, all the tracks that we run at, we do hit a different variety of fans. And, you know, it's something for them to stay in.
Still, success does not guarantee continued support. Todd Bodine won races and finished 3rd in points last year, yet is prepared to run a limited schedule this season because his sponsor pulled out of the series. Racing is a fragile equation of economics and ego with a firm bottom line.
I won a championship in 1986 and 87, and I can't believe how it's changed. The cars are a lot more competitive to keep the sponsors happy, I'm sure, and with all the money that they're putting into it, they expect you to win.
It's good to see Larry Pearson back in Busch racing, and yes, he's right. The sponsors do expect you to win, especially in a race like the Goodies 300 that kicks off the season. For the first time ever, they'll run for a $500,000 purse. There's one NASCAR Winston Cup team that's about to bite the dust, and that leads off this week's Haviland News.
Today's NASCAR News, brought to you by Texaco Haviland. Add more life to your car.
The Whitcomb Racing Team has closed the door of their shop in Charlotte. Rumors have been swirling about the team's status for 1993 during the offseason, despite their appearance at Daytona for a GM test session in December. The 1992 season produced just 3 top 10 finishes. Driver Derek Cope finished 21st in points. As of our production deadline, Derek's future was undetermined. However, his former crew chief, Barry Dotson, has signed on with Darrell Waltrip as crew chief for the Western Auto Chevrolet. Veteran Jake Elder, who was serving as crew chief, has taken the position of chief mechanic. Now here are the final top 10 testing speeds from Daytona.
Well, as testing continued during the winter months, the speed continued to climb. And I'll tell you, I think the pole position winner is wide open going into that next Saturday at Daytona. We need to take a short break. Still to come on this edition of Inside Winston Cup Racing, we'll talk to the driver of this Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, Rusty Wallace, and we'll also talk to some real legends in the sport. You stay with us.
But Buddy Parrott has brought so much to it as far as organization. That's going to be the whole deal. We got key engine people, we got key engineers, we got a driver, we got different things, but Buddy kind of overlooks everything.
Are you ready for a change? Wouldn't you like to slide into a new body? Hi, I'm Kim Alexis. With my career, I have to stay in shape, so I'm always looking for a better way to work out. Now I've found the Slim Slide. It's fun, and I get great results in less time. Sliding started as a training method for Olympic athletes. Now it's the newest craze in aerobics on the West Coast. Why? Because you burn fat fast, up to 400 calories in just 20 minutes. And it focuses shaping where we need it most, our lower body.
The Slim Slide is a world-class workout, yet it's appropriate for people of all fitness levels. By swinging your arms, your whole body is involved, so there's no better cardiovascular exercise.
The Slim Slide reshapes your lower body. It firms your inner and outer thighs and tightens your buttocks and even slims your hips.
Now I can get everything I need in just 20 minutes.
Whoever thought that working out could be such a blast? It's not boring, so I know I'll stay with it and lose weight.
The Slim Slide is made of space-age resins and includes shoe covers so you can slide your way into a new body. It also comes with my easy-to-follow workout video. Because being a mother of two, I know how important it is to work out at home. And Slim Slide stores so easily. Finally, an aerobic workout that's fun and helps you lose weight. So, if you'd like to slide into a new body, call toll-free now and order my workout video and the Slim Slide. From Fitness Quest.
To order the Slim Slide with Kim Alexis, including her workout video, call 1-800-453-4808. That's 1-800-453-4808. We'll bill your credit card 3 easy payments of $19.95 each, and we won't bill the last payment till you've tried it for 60 days. You get a full 60-day home trial. The total price, $59.85 plus $9 shipping and handling. To order, call 1-800-453-4808. Call now.
Hi there, Norm, your TNN Outdoors guide once again. Orlando Wilson and Bobby Bear go bass fishing country style, while Roland Martin reels in royalty when he goes king fishing. And on Bassmasters, the pros fought the elements for a chunk of $188,000 at the New York Invitational. You should catch the best. Watch TNN Outdoors tonight starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. And as my dear daddy would say, may you hook fish, not your finger.
Rusty Wallace is one of the most fierce competitors in all of NASCAR Winston Cup racing. He has a desire to win like no other driver. Now, he won the 1989 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship and seemed to be on top of the world. And then things started to happen, and it went down a little bit. They started this team a couple of years ago, and it's taken a while for him to get it built up into the competitive form that he really wants it to be. And he feels that they have it that way now. They hired Buddy Parrott towards the end of the last year as the crew chief, made some other personnel changes, and he is pumped up about 1993, and we talked to him on the recent Miller Cruise.
In the past, Rusty Wallace's success in the Daytona 500 has been fleeting. But now, for the first time ever, the '89 Winston Cup champion is all pumped up about the possibility for victory in the sports Super Bowl.
Well, I've never had a good run at Daytona. I don't think the rules were ever in our favor down there. And I don't say they're in our favor now, but I think they're more equal. I think that the engine combination that we got, Mike Kennedy in High Point, he did some of Richard's engines last year at Daytona and Talladega, and he ran well there in qualifying and stuff and in a race. So I know we got good engines. He's worked real hard. The Pontiacs have got a new nose, a new tail. The quarter panels are down an inch lower. They're equal height with the Fords and the Chevrolets and the Oldsmobiles. And so I think that all the cars are on a more level playing ground. And because of that, the cars ran faster.
After testing during December and January at Daytona, Rusty spent a relaxing week in the Caribbean with his family as they cruised the pristine waters aboard the USS Norway. Rusty attributed his uncommon calm state of mind to his team, which was busy at Penske South putting the final touches to his Miller Genuine Draft Pontiacs.
We hired a new chassis engineer, Terry Satchel. He was the main GM guy, and Terry's got a lot of experience, a lot of common sense of what it takes to win races, and he's going to help us with our chassis stuff. But Buddy Parrott has brought so much to it as far as organization. That's going to be the whole deal. We got key engine people, we got key engineers, we got a driver, we got different things, but Buddy kind of overlooks everything. And I think that with Satchel and David Evans and Todd Parrott working with me on the chassis exclusively, I think it's just going to be a winning deal.
The enthusiasm he carries in himself, it kind of carries over to the race team also. You know, one of the things he's done is, you know, he started getting himself in shape, and we've incorporated our weight program and everything with the guys, and I don't think it would have been as easy for me to swing this if it hadn't been for him doing it first.
It's obvious that the entire team is pumped up, but Rusty knows that a solid finish in the 500 could set the tone for the early part of the season.
If you come out of there not really running good in the points, it kills you. Just like you're right, because I want to finish well at Daytona, because I'm telling you, you can come out of there like I did last year. Got myself in a wreck right there at the end, or Kenny Schrader and I did, while him and I were sitting there drafting along. We're in 8th or 9th, and he had a big wreck up in front of us, and we both got into it, you know. We left the place like 30th in points, and it took all year to try to gather back up. And then we'd get back up to 8th, and I'd fall back down. And I'd get to 7th, and I'd fall to 15th, and crazy stuff like that. But once you're up, once you leave Daytona and you're way up in the points, man, it's hard to kick you out of that top 10. It really is.
Although Rusty hasn't had the type of season that would allow him to sew up a title as he did in 1989, he vows that his aggressive style is still there. He also believes it could be a Wallace-Earnhardt battle again this year.
I think that Earnhardt's going to be real, real tough, because he's got his butt kicked in pretty hard last year, and he's not taking it either. He's not taking that good. And I ran good at the end of the year, but so I know I'll run good. I know Dale will run good. And a couple of these other cats have had mix-ups on their teams, you know, so I don't know what's going to happen. Mr. Nice Guy stuff don't cut it around here. You got to get out and get the job done, you know, so they got to do what they got to do, and I'm going to do what I want to do.
With over 20 wins under his belt and a Winston Cup title to his credit, Rusty plans on going all out in 93, making every day and every race count, hoping to repeat his relentless assault of 1989.
It's the same perspective. I just had to get what I had back before. Barry Dotson was a really killer crew chief, and Harold Elliott was a killer engine builder. And through winning a championship, we just got tore apart, and I learned a lot from that championship, how to help my guys more, how to be better to them. And I think a good team has to learn just to calm down and stay together. All this jumping around doesn't do nothing for their career, doesn't do nothing for anybody. You just got to stay patient, but you got to be really aggressive, and you got to be really cocky. You really got to go after it. You know, you can't just sit there and say, well, I had a bad run, we'll have next year, our next race will come. Man, those next races sometimes just don't come until for a long time.
We would like to thank Miller for their hospitality in allowing us to go along on the cruise and to sit down with Rusty in a more relaxed type of an atmosphere. We need to take a short break right now. When we come back, 3 legends in auto racing. Don't you miss it. We'll be right back.
I think we were more hungry. I got all the respect in the world for these great drivers today, the speeds they're running, but I believe we were just as good back then and more hungry, and we had to go out to win our.
Randy, I don't know. They got airplane payments now. They're pretty hungry, too.
Cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. For those who discovered its smooth draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
In America, your car doesn't just get you from here to there. It's a part of your life. To give your car complete protection, Texaco has developed Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. With not one, but 3 kinds of protection against heat stress, starting friction, and engine dirt. Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car.
Here's the heart, TNN,
where the brightest stars all welcome you to come on in.
Where the music of America and you are a part. Deep in the heart of country.
Here in the heart,
where what country's all about.
here in the heart,
You got the best seat in the house. Where the music of America and you are a part. Deep in the heart. Oh, here is the heart of country.
You're enjoying TNN, the heart of country, and your #1 source for country music, entertainment, and information. If you'd like to know more about our programs or guest lineups, call TNN Viewer Services 615-883-7000. For tickets, call Opryland Customer Service 615-889-6611.
Next week on Inside Winston Cup Racing, we'll profile the Bobby Allison Motorsports team. Gaining a sponsor came down to the wire, but for driver Jimmy Spencer and the rest of the crew, the future looks bright.
At the end of the 1992 season, Richard Childress Racing lost its longtime crew chief, Kirk Shelmerdine. Now Andy Petrie joins up with Dale Earnhardt in hopes of gaining the team yet another crown. You'll hear how they're coming along as Daytona looms just around the corner. All that and more next week.
There were a lot of auto racing personalities on the Miller Cruise besides Rusty Wallace. Two-time NASCAR Winston Cup champion Tim Flock, Smokey Unick, arguably one of the best mechanics in all of auto racing, and Buddy Baker, one of the all-time greats as far as super speedway racing is concerned. And David Pearson was on the cruise too, but he got sick and was not able to sit down and talk with us, but he got well enough one night to hit a $25,000 jackpot on one of the slot machines. And that set the stage for our first part of the conversation with the three other guys on how money has changed in the sport of auto racing.
Well, I can give you a good example. The first World 600 that I won, it was 1968, and I won $25,200, and he won $25,000 in a slot machine, and he only had $60 invested. Now you tell me who had the deal.
I never did win that kind of money back in the early 50s. I won 40 Grand Nationals, and I bet Pearson probably won as much last night with those two $5 pieces in that slot machine I did probably in a whole half of a year.
Things have changed a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit. Actually, Tim and I go back a little farther than Buddy, because his dad was in the middle of it, one of the first ones. But I don't think, speaking for myself, we never thought about the purse. If you asked me what the purse was before the race started, I didn't have the foggiest damn idea. Nor did I really care. I just come to race you. And if we got the job done and there was enough money to get home, that was all that counted.
Yeah, sometimes we had to borrow money to get home on.
I think the mechanics they got today are as good or better than we had back in the old days, but we're not talking apples and oranges. And so there'll never be no way to compare them. I imagine the same thing with race drivers and football players and baseball players. As the rules change, then what a man has to know, what he has to do changes, so there's really no way to compare. The mechanics today are quite handicapped. They're kind of operating with one hand tied behind their back with the rules, and they're stuck in a rut. They all work on, for example, in NASCAR, two principal engines, the Ford V8 and the General Motors V8. And it's been developed for 35 years. And when you get out on the racetrack on qualifying day, it's my guess you could take the top 20 qualifiers, take their engines out, put in a dynamometer, and I would be willing to bet there wouldn't be over 7-8 horsepower difference between the best one and the worst one. That wasn't the way it used to be. You know, we had to stick with stock parts, but in the learning process, give you a lot more room to learn or cheat.
He's moving up to the checkered flag. Tim Fox Mercury wins in record time.
I've run with sons, fathers, and grandfathers in this business. When I started, I was 17 years old, and the guys that I was fortunate enough to race with then, they were all very competitive. And the one thing that I've always been able to distinguish, a winner is a winner, no matter what decade he comes from. And that way that you look at a guy and you see it in his eyes, he has a look that's different from everybody else. He looks like a winner, in other words. He has that, what do they call it, the eye of the tiger look. And I don't think that the Tim Flock era or the Buck Baker era or the Richard Petty era or Rusty Wallace or Dale Earnhardt, I don't think it's fair to compare any of them to the other. I think they were all, in their time, the best at that particular time. They had one thing in common. They wanted to win more than anybody else.
I believe back in my era, we were a lot hungrier because there wasn't no money, and you had to go out there and try to go up front and win. To win $1,000, the NASCAR purse for several years, I think 12 years, $1,000 to win. You got 40% of that money, and I think we were more hungry. I got all the respect in the world for these great drivers today, the speeds they're running, but I believe we were just as good back then and more hungry, and we had to go out to win them.
Randy, I don't know. They got airplane payments now. They're pretty hungry, too.
Today's mailbox is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft.
Our question today is from Robert and Linda Wells of Gaffney, South Carolina. They write, do the different Winston Cup teams have identical templates to those used by the NASCAR inspectors? Robert and Linda, no one better to answer that question than Buddy Parrott, who's the crew chief on these Miller Genuine Draft Pontiacs.
To answer your questions, Linda and Robert, the Winston Cup teams and the NASCAR inspectors do have the same templates. This will be the first year that we will have actually the identical templates, because Butler-built products have gotten a contract from NASCAR, and they made the templates. So we all buy the templates from Butler-built, and as you see on the car, these templates have to fit quite a close tolerance. So thank you for writing in. It was a very interesting question.
If you have any race questions, write to us at Inside Winston Cup Racing, Box 240417, Charlotte 28224. If we use your question on the air, you'll receive this embroidered Miller Genuine Draft jacket. You'll also receive a copy of NASCAR videos, A Week in the Life of a Race Team, the latest volume in the exciting series, bringing the NASCAR lifestyle roaring into your living room.
Well, our time's up for today. Hope you enjoyed the show, and boy, I'm glad that it's about time to go racing. Our thanks to Rusty Wallace, Roger Penske, and all the folks for allowing us to come in their shops today. We'll see you right back here on TNN next week for more on the Inside